that I thought of highlighting. It is important to recognize that universities and higher education institutions are truly universal in their scope, in their expansion. And that's the reason why we also talked about diversity, spatial diversity, of getting students from all over the world, if not all over the country, if not from all over the world. And get students and faculty from everywhere. But unfortunately, many of our national policies are in such a way that we are setting up institutions, university-level institutions, to become regional centers and focusing on regional needs. While there is importance to focus on regional concerns of development, when the institutions have to be university-level institutions which are having very high degree of diversity. And diversity has to be promoted to promote quality of education systems. There is an important committee that has recently stated that it's every university-level institution, again that is state or public, private, should have undergraduate, postgraduate, and research components simultaneously. And unfortunately, we have almost three different institutions. We have teaching institutions, we have almost all undergraduate colleges are teaching institutions. Many of the universities are also postgraduate teaching departments, but they have postgraduate courses. And research is really getting disappeared from the university systems, and it's confined to research institutions or some central universities and some institutions. It's important that the university must have these three components put together as an integrated program of development of higher education. This committee has also, in fact, the committee was chaired by Professor Eshpal in an education system. And he also suggested that we should see that every university should becomes a comprehensive university, a multi-faculty university, right, and being a single faculty university. And we have single faculty universities everywhere. In good numbers, and that will help in really good knowledge production, because the faculty and students of different departments, different faculty come together and talk. I think there will be generation of new ideas, and that's how new ideas come, and knowledge production takes place, etc. Now, one or two simple points that I thought of saying. There are quite, in fact, both at national level and also at state level, we have too many institutions. And it's not very important. It's not so important to start more and more institutions, particularly when the existing institutions are in bad shape, without sufficient faculty, without sufficient students, the student numbers, and without funding, without sufficient funds. So we really consolidate and focus on the improvement of the existing institutions before we talk about the large-scale expansion of higher education. In the country, expansion has taken place in a very significant way in the last couple of decades, but we traded off by a few important concerns with this. Now, the private sector has a large role even with respect to the state education system, state and state, both literally state and also public education in general. One, the private sector has to dispel the fears and doubts of the academia and the government that private sector is mainly for profit and nothing else. They don't have social concerns, they don't have educational considerations at all, they want to do business with the education system. That has to be really, a significant effort has to be made. One important way is really another new way, is whether you use the CSR or otherwise, we need really large-scale donations to the public institutions from the private sector. Donations, endowments, shares, or traditional ways of really supporting funding research projects is a very important activity that most of the private sector, corporate sector should be interested with respect to the development of higher education, and that really makes a lot of difference. We are talking a lot about PPP, public-private partnerships, but I think we should be really very careful with these PPP models unless they are really innovative models. That state responsibility for higher education is not diluted. And B, the educational considerations are not sacrificed. There is a huge scope as the state repeatedly for the private sector to play with respect to higher education, but a good framework has to be developed, both by the state and that has to be responded positively by the private sector. Last point that I would like to underline is what we have is unfortunately, what we do not have unfortunately is a good long-term policy for higher education. We have good or bad plans both at national level and also at state levels for elementary education and also for secondary education. but we never consider it important to have really plans for higher education. But higher education system is being managed by executive orders. Many of them conflict with each other, so an order is issued today and the next day it is withdrawn, etc., etc., and taking other problems. So we need a coherent long-term policy plan for higher education development. When I say long-term, it's not necessarily 100 years, but at least we should be able to think about next 25 years to 50 years. And without which we'll be going in different directions. There are three major opportunities. Globalization is a big opportunity that we can use for the development of higher education in the state. Second, there is a huge amount of technology that is available today that could be exploited, that could be best for the maximization of higher education systems. Third, we have huge numbers of students in the country. There are huge youth that we described in very brief as demographic dividend. Unless we do really positively for the development of the youth with good higher education system, this so-called demographic dividend will become a demographic disaster, and we can say a serious problem. With that, I'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Tilak. Our last